So, people keep saying, like, well, Thanos destroyed the Infinity Stones, didn't he? And sure, he rendered them unusable. In Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, we see that the world, and yes, it's Marvel vs. Capcom. It's a fighting game. It's not part of the MCU. Whatever. Also, Mega Man and Fuckstick McGee are in the game. Who is Fuckstick McGee, you may ask? I don't know. I just thought that sounded cool. So, anyways, Thanos punches the Reality Stone when it's in Ultron Sigma's head. And he punches it so hard and so many times that it actually cracks. And now, as a result, the realities cannot be unfused. They're stuck like that. And, well, let's just say that, alright, so reality isn't broken, even though the same rules apply. But it's cracked. So, and you gotta think that Marvel would have a little bit more care with their explanations. I don't think they're just gonna be like, I used the stones to destroy the stones 1 minute, and be like, we need the stones to create the flow of time the next. So, let's assume that there is an explanation. I already posted this on the game theory video that just came out, or film theory video that just came out. But I believe that Thanos just, when he snapped his fingers this next time, the stones exploded. That we know that their energy went way further into the universe than the initial snap. So what if the stones just exploded and their particles were just spread throughout the universe? It irradiated all of the planets, or like all of, the galaxy nearby, and the particles are expanding at the same rate that space and the universe is as well. Until they come closer together and build up enough energy to reform. What if the stones can't be destroyed? They can be removed from one universe to another, but they can't be destroyed. They are always part of the universe. That would be a pretty cool reveal. Not only would that mean that in the future they can fall back on the Infinity Stones if they need to, but also as of now, no one can use them in any way. Reality still functions, but what are you going to do? Collect microscopic particles? I guess if you're Ant-Man in a spacesuit and you have 4,000 years of your life to go, if you're just fucking immortal, then sure. But now they have to reform on their own. And you know what? This would also be a really cool way to introduce us to some different types of aliens. Or maybe Thanos, or maybe not Thanos. Maybe when Galactus shows up, he has the Infinity Stones. And you're like, whoa, how did he do that? And he's like, you fools. They reform on their own. Or something like that. I'm really tired, guys, and this is just after making that CBR Spider-Man video. So, I have to rush this video a little bit, but it's been on my mind for a while, and I just never said anything. So, peace. So here's just some quick thoughts on Ultimate Marvel. Fuck, I already fucked it up. On Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. So this game, I don't know why it took me so long to get, but man, is it good. Like, I've been wanting an X-Men game for quite a while, and I fucking got it. It's fucking the bomb. It mixes in X-Men stuff with Avengers stuff so well. And also, despite the game being called Ultimate Alliance 3, you do not need to play the previous games to enjoy it at all. Maybe they make it better, but honestly, it's pretty good as it is. I believe in the first game, though, Aaron Hansen actually did the voice of Bruce Banner. I gotta check this before, you know what, hold on. Yeah, so I went and looked it up. Aaron Hansen is in the Wii version as part of a contest. And you know what? That's kind of stupid. I think, one, they should have just full-on put him in the rest of them unless he thought otherwise. And two, you should not hold a contest for one of the most important Marvel characters. I mean, think about, like, Marvel, the MCU, they make an X-Men movie, and it's like, Wolverine is going to be played by whoever wins the contest. You shouldn't do that. Don't do it. But anyways, I thought that's kind of cool, you know. Hopefully it worked out. I mean, if it comes off as awkward, then woof. But Robert Atkin Downs, I think is the guy's name, plays Bruce Banner in the game. The rest of it, anyways. And Bruce Banner is not featured whatsoever in Ultimate Marvel 3. Fuck. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I keep thinking of Marvel vs. Capcom. I keep fucking it up. Anyways. And actually, this game does remind me of Marvel vs. Capcom in some ways. It's full of fan service. It, hits the... What were the other reasons it reminded me of that? I can't remember at the moment. But this game in particular, if you've been looking for an X-Men game, get this game. It's not as deep as something like Marvel's Avengers or Marvel's Spider-Man, but it is crazy deep. Even though it comes off as just a brawler, there are elements throughout the game. I don't really have enough footage of it right now because the Nintendo Switch only lets you record 30 seconds of anything. That is bullshit, man. You need to bump that shit up to 10 minutes or an hour, man. Because the Xbox lets you do, like, that is some bullshit. So I won't have a whole lot of videos of the game, you'll have to go elsewhere. But I should have something in the background that's good. I think I'll have, like, some Ultimate Alliance 3 videos in this video. But, otherwise, yeah, it's mostly going to be other Marvel games. But it's weird to me, like, is Marvel going back on doing X-Men stuff again? Because I hope not. But I've noticed Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, so good. And Wolverine is right there on the cover next to Iron Man and shit. So fucking good. I mean, the series started with some X-Men game. Let me look it up real quick. X-Men Legends. And I have always thought that the Ultimate Alliance series is much better. But this series, or this franchise rather, you know, it started with X-Men 2. You had X-Men versus Street Fighter, or X-Men Children of the Atom and X-Men versus Street Fighter, which is where, like, these characters got crazy popular. I think, well, they were popular enough before then, but, for, like, video games, I think that's where it really started. And so you had X-Men versus Street Fighter, blah, 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 and, X-Men Legends, which both, I have literally never said both with an F before. I do not know why that just came out and felt so natural. Both, started off these, like, franchises of video games. You have X-Men Legends, which kicked off the Ultimate Alliance series, and you have, X-Men Children of the Atom, which kicked off Marvel vs. Capcom. Well, one could argue that X-Men vs. Street Fighter kicked off Marvel vs. Capcom. But still, like, these kicked off gaming franchises that are still going today, albeit Marvel Ultimate Alliance not going as strong as Marvel vs. Capcom, and Marvel vs. Capcom's pretty weak. I'd say it's ultimately on life support right now. Please fucking Capcom. And, like, Capcom and the Ultimate Alliance people, I can't think of their name at the moment, need to, like, get on that. But I've been wanting an X-Men game for forever. And Ultimate Alliance is really what I've been wanting. I haven't been wanting an X-Men game. I've just been wanting a Marvel game. And see, as good as Marvel's Avengers is, or as Marvel's Spider-Man is, that's not a Marvel game. That's a Spider-Man game and an Avengers game. Marvel Ultimate Alliance is a Marvel game. All of Marvel's franchises are here. If some are, you know, any of them could be. If some of them are missing, that's just because the developers didn't want to put them in or something like that. It's not because they couldn't. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is what I've been waiting for like, I don't know, 8 or so years, maybe? It feels like it's been longer. But there has been an X-Men drought in gaming, and this fills that hole. Like, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance is an X-Men game, it is an Avengers game, it is a Spider-Man game. It's all of that wrapped in one. Here's what I mean. So you have Marvel Spider-Man, but that's just Spider-Man stuff, with the exception of Taskmaster, who's there for some reason. The fuck is he doing? And then you have, Marvel's Avengers, which is just an Avengers game. In fact, Marvel's Avengers at the moment, I think it's going to get way better. At the moment, it's just an Avengers game. It's not even an Iron Man game, or a Thor game, or a Captain America game. It certainly is not a fucking Captain America game. It's just Avengers. They fight Avengers-level threats, like Taskmaster and MODOK, who, by the way, are the only recognizable bosses. One of them is a robot. No, one of them is a chick in a mech. The other is a tank thing, and the other is a giant jet. So the only recognizable bosses in that game are MODOK and Taskmaster. That'll be better, but, or it will get better, I'm sure. But MODOK and Taskmaster are Avengers-level threats. Except, again, he's in the Spider-Man game and he gets his ass beat by Spider-Man. I disagree with that. Because, I mean, Taskmaster can counter any Marvel character except Deadpool. So it's up to people to work as a team. Now, in Marvel's Ultimate Spider-Man, the episode Ultimate Deadpool, that, by the way, where the fuck are the X-Men cartoons? So, in Deadpool, or in Ultimate Deadpool, Deadpool wants to unalive Taskmaster, and ultimately, Taskmaster is afraid of the dude because he can't copy him. Now, in the comics, specifically Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool can, or Taskmaster can kill Deadpool, or copy Deadpool, not kill. Fuck. And I'm just dropping F-bombs up the wazoo. And Deadpool can copy, or Taskmaster can copy Deadpool, and having Taskmaster copy Deadpool was part of Deadpool's plan, because the more Taskmaster copies him, even though it doesn't make any fucking sense, the more Taskmaster becomes him. So that was part of his plan. The more Taskmaster became Deadpool, the more afraid Taskmaster was. And then Man-Thing kills Taskmaster, because Man-Thing can sense fear or some shit. So it's up to the Avengers and stuff to work as a team, because he can counter any of them. He can counter Iron Man, if not, by copying his tech, which I think if Taskmaster spied on Iron Man, Taskmaster could replicate his armor. But not only can Taskmaster probably build himself an Iron Man suit, Taskmaster would be able to beat Iron Man. Taskmaster is going to pose a threat for Black Widow in the Black Widow movie. However, I think this Taskmaster is not the guy. I'm pretty sure it's a woman. So that'll be interesting. I'm hoping it's not a gender swap. I'm hoping it's a whatchamacallit? Damn. It's gone. It's a plot twist. Like, so Black Widow maybe thinks that it's the former SHIELD agent Masters, and so she calls him out, and then it's actually the other chick. I'm hoping Taskmaster is actually Yelena Belova, because that would just be a really good twist. I hear she's a bad guy, part of the Dark Avengers, and she's like Black Widow's equivalent, whereas Norman Osborn is Iron Man's equivalent. Which is weird, because he went from Green Goblin to being the Iron Patriot. Because in the comics, Iron Patriot is Norman Osborn, whereas in the MCU, it's War Machine, which is weird. Anyways, they had to change that because they didn't have the rights to that character, I'm sure, but I'm just saying. So anyways, he's an Avengers level threat. You need at least 2 Avengers to beat the guy's ass. Except for in the game where Black Widow took him out one-on-one. But whatever. And so Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3. I know I've gone into a bunch of tangents.
Hurry and give me the serum ingredients.
It is an Avengers game.
Right here. There should be enough, right?
And an Iron Man game. And an X-Men game. And a Wolverine game.
He's coming. Daddy's coming.
This baby is whatever you want it to be.
There's enough for 2.
And basically,
So after we make the serum, what's next?
There's a boat outside. We'll take a
you have,
But
for instance, the first level is a Guardians of the Galaxy game. It's just the Guardians versus Nebula, Ronin, and Proxima Midnight, which I guess is not which I guess is an Avengers villain. But you see right there, it's just the Guardians doing Guardians things. And then the second level, while technically it also has the Guardians and stuff, is basically just a Spider-Man game. It's Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the game. Or it could just be the Spider-Verse game if you beat it and then you replay it and you have only Spider-Man characters. But you know how it is. So, yeah, I guess the Spider-Man thing, not exactly accurate. But once you beat the game, you can play the game with whatever characters you want. It can be just an X-Men game. So, you play through the X-Men level, which I believe is level 4? No, 5. And, you fight Sentinels and mutants, and you team up with Deadpool, and you can play as Wolverine, Cyclops, Colossus, Psylocke, Nightcrawler, and Deadpool. But then you fight against Magneto and Mystique, and you go into the Danger Room, and it's just X-Men doing X-Men things. So, I mean, yeah, technically this is like the shortest X-Men game ever made. It's the shortest Guardians of the Galaxy game ever made. It's probably the only one aside from the Telltale game. It's not a perfect game, and it's definitely not a perfect X-Men game. It's definitely not a perfect Guardians game. But it's a really good game. It's a really good X-Men game, a really good Guardians game, and it's just an amazing game. If you guys have been waiting for an X-Men game, and for whatever reason you didn't want to pick this game up, it's exclusive to Nintendo Switch, so that's a problem. That's a bit of a problem. I'm hoping that Ultimate Alliance 4 is available everywhere, but even if it's only on the Switch or a future Nintendo platform, that's fine. That's fine. Even if it's only on the PlayStation or whatever, whatever it migrates to, wherever it is exclusive to, that's fine. I'm just hoping it's everywhere. But this game, no one talks about it, and that is a shame. The final, the plot twist at the end, I was not expecting. Now, I don't know who Thane is in the comics. I don't know if he even is in the comics. And I don't know if Thanos has any biological children in the comics. He doesn't in the MCU, as far as we're aware. But Thane, who is half Inhuman, half Thanos species, which I believe is Titan. He is throughout the game, he's not being particularly subtle, but I didn't actually think they'd go through with it. So it's kind of obvious, but it's kind of not. Thane is evil. More evil, maybe, than this game's version of Thanos. That is unexpected. What I was expecting was, Thane, he'd help you out in the fight against Thanos, and for a second, he does. But he just went kind of crazy, towards the end of the game, and he revealed that the Infinity Gauntlet is only one piece of the Infinity Armor. And so when Thane gets the Infinity Armor, I was like, what the shit? That's a thing? The only thing I really don't like about this game so far, and maybe you have to unlock them or something, so I'm crossing my fingers, but I'm not expecting it. So far, you can't play as the bad guys. Like, mm, like I want my team to be Magneto, Loki, Red Skull, and Thanos. That would be awesome. Maybe there's like some villain I'm overlooking in the base game. I have the season pass, but I'm not talking about that right now because I haven't used any of its content. Aside from the Chef Deadpool thing that you get. But maybe there's something I'm overlooking at the moment. Some villain that I'm overlooking. But at the moment, it really doesn't seem like you can customize or play as the villains at all. And so that's kind of unfortunate. I mean, anti-heroes are in here up the wazoo, but straight up villains appear to be non-existent, which is non-existent, which is kind of unfortunate. I mean, at least you get to fight them in really cool battles. So I mean, they're in the game, they're used up, but then there are bizarre characters that are just not playable, like Jessica Jones or the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier, he gives at least an excuse for why he isn't playable, saying that he's now vulnerable, or not vulnerable, compromised. And he does something really cool. Like, he has this really cool fight scene. But Jessica Jones is just not used at all. If she so much as punched a single guy, I would have thought that that was cool. But not only is she not playable, she doesn't do anything. I was like, that's kind of lame, bro. Jewel deserved more. Rest in peace, Jewel. So, yeah, it's just bizarre that they're not in the game as playable characters. I don't know what the deal was. But, I mean, this game is just great. I want more like it. Now, I'm going to explain something I was saying earlier about the Avengers. The Avengers game?
What the hell are we gonna do now?
It's really weird. It reminds me of Days of Future Past. So the game, it opens up as like, you know, your,
I'm sorry.
I don't want to say run of the mill, but your average Avengers premise, you know,
Go!
shit's fucked and you gotta unfuck it.
Go!
But
Go!
in this, after that, the Inhumans are created from the Terrigen Mist. And then it's like 5 years later, and the Inhumans are being treated like mutants in the X-Men series. So you gotta you gotta avoid detection from you gotta avoid detection from these robots, which are basically Sentinels. Because Kamala Khan, who the game is really centered on, or focused on, she's an Inhuman, right? So, she has to avoid detection from, again, the robots called, I don't know what they're called, but AIM basically created these robots, and they want to capture, kill, and lock up and torture the Inhumans, similar to mutants, right? So then I was like, you know what, this is very Days of Future Pasty. And then they even go to detect the robots even detect your DNA to know, hey, are you an Inhuman or are you human? And so I'm hoping that they're still allowed to do X-Men stuff if they want to, because it almost seems like they want to do X-Men stuff, but they're not allowed to use those characters, which is strange to me. Because again, like I was saying, I want more X-Men stuff. Also, the final boss. I guess spoilers, okay? So the final boss is MODOK. Obviously, everybody knows that. But he takes control of something called a Kree Sentry. And I don't really know what its purpose is, but it seems like MODOK wanted to use it to get rid of Inhumans. And Inhumans are basically just mutants. And it looks like a Sentinel. And it's called a Kree Sentry, which is a little similar to just a Sentinel. You know, it's Sentinel Sentry. Maybe I'm not doing that justice, but to me it reminded me of a Sentinel. If it walks like a Sentinel, it talks like a Sentinel, and it sounds like a Sentinel, it's probably a Sentinel. So what the fuck? Am I right? That just has me a little concerned about X-Men future in video games. Because Ultimate Alliance 3 was so good, and that made me want so much more. I was like, oh my, you can do so much with this. Like, Ultimate Alliance 3, you make a game, next time they make a game, I will pay for it. At launch, man. It just has to be good. So I'll wait for reviews, I guess. I won't get it opening day, or launch day, but a week after, and I'll buy you. But, yeah, like this game. So, it just has me concerned. You know, I'm like, are they still allowed to do X-Men stuff? That's kind of concerning. So, I think they can do X-Men stuff in games. I don't think there should be a problem. Whatever, man. But, yeah. So, Wolverine is in like 3 episodes of Ultimate Spider-Man. Deadpool is in 1. The X-Men just don't show up in anything recently. So Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was a huge surprise. My mind was just fucking blown. So this video has been way too long. I've been gushing. I haven't said anything critical aside from no villains. I don't have anything critical to say. And so you probably don't want to hear me gush any longer. I'm quitting on this video. I think I've said what I needed to say. I think I was a little too critical about Avengers because I didn't say anything positive about the game, even though I'm really enjoying it. But this wasn't an Avengers video. This was an Ultimate Alliance 3 video. That's why. I don't have any complaints. Dude, my only complaint with Ultimate Alliance 3, so far, aside from the villains being playable, or rather not, my only complaint is that the game isn't fucking perfect. Okay? That's my only complaint. It's fucking good. So, yeah.